Naruto versus Ichigo is probably the most anticipated matchup on my channel, as it would be the first time I'd be scaling Bleach on my channel. If at the end of the video you're unsatisfied with the outcome, leave down in the comments why. Also, I want this video to reach a bigger audience, so if you watched this video and enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe as it helps a ton. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and if you want to be a part of that milestone, it'd help a lot. Also, apparently a large portion of my audience isn't even subscribed to me, so if you're one of those people and enjoyed my video, please be sure to do that. Let's answer the question of today's video. Is Naruto versus Ichigo close? First off, both chakra and spiritual power will be equalized, so none of that, well, Naruto can't even see Ichigo. Shut up. Six Paths Naruto was capable of dodging Madara's Fang of Light at literal point blank range, then got stronger after doing this. This is blatantly faster than light speed, as you'd also have statements like this where the Raikage is almost the speed of light. So the Raikage in V1 Lightning Cloak is realistic speeds, and Sasuke at the Kage Summit using his base Sharingan is actually faster than the Raikage. Then when he uses his V2 Lightning Cloak, he almost blitzes this same Sasuke's perception while he's using Mangekyo Sharingan. And this Raikage is the same one that got blitzed by Naruto in KCM1. You get my point. For this specific Naruto we're using, there are two characters that are vital when it comes to finding out his strength: Jubito and Kaguya. Jubito is planetary, and when I say that, it's pretty blatant things pointing out toward the fact. The Ten Tails was essentially already worth the planet simply from its chakra being shook. It's pretty obvious that a Jinchuriki is stronger than the actual tailed beast itself, as Ito Hashirama didn't even struggle holding down the Ten Tails, but his deity gates were pretty much useless against Jubito. And planetary Jubito is further backed up by the fact that his plan was to affect the entire world with the infinite Tsukiyomi, and stating he's going to destroy the world. And given this context, this is most likely not hyperbole, but rather literal. And using calcs, you can actually get this divine tree to be planetary. It just further solidifies Jubito being planetary. Kaguya is probably one of the most contentious characters when it comes to scaling within the universe of Naruto. We know that Kaguya created her 6 dimensions. Some of these dimensions have stars in them, so she was capable of completely rebooting the space and at the bare minimum turn a planet into nothing before creating an entirely new one. Turning a planet into nothing demands a level of strength far beyond planetary. You could argue that she doesn't scale to it. However, she would, because the chakra output needed for this would not be beyond her capabilities. You could say that Kaguya doesn't even scale to this to begin with, because the chakra was absorbed from the infinite Tsukiyomi. She was powered up by every sleeping shinobi within the Alliance. This argument is negligible as the Alliance wasn't even on the same level as the Nine Tails. Also, Kaguya absorbed this energy when she was out of chakra, and she literally absorbed the entire Jubi on top of the reserves Madara already had. And Madara is someone who, even before absorbing the Ten Tails, had extreme amounts of chakra by himself. And the Ten Tails he absorbed was already about twice as strong as the one Obito had already had, as Obito had had half Nine Tails and half Eight Tails, then absorbed the Divine Tree on top of that, and had time to feed on the Shinobi's chakra and some of the Earth's energy. Then Naruto shows that he does indeed scale to Madara. Then Naruto eventually grows strong enough that he's able to cut through a weakened Kaguya like it's nothing, and was even capable of matching her a few times at the very beginning of the fight. So putting Teen Naruto at the end of Shippuden anywhere from small star level to star level isn't even out of reach. So Naruto as an adult should scale to Momoshiki. Momoshiki is someone who on multiple occasions has been compared to someone like Kaguya, so he'd probably scale to pre-Earth Chakra Fruit Kaguya. So him and Kinshiki should be an overall threat to Kaguya at her full power. We know that Momoshiki in base absorbed half of Naruto's chakra and then completely absorbed Kinshiki. So he should just be as strong as Kaguya at the very least, but still get smacked around by Naruto. Momoshiki even needed his Monkey Rock to even overpower Naruto, so Naruto should at the very bare minimum scale to Momoshiki, which means that adult Naruto should be large star level to even solar system levels of AP. Throughout Yuha's appearance, he absorbed a ton of people's powers, and to be more specific, the Soul King. The Soul King is kind of like the opposite of a star, so instead of attracting a planet, he will essentially repel them. He was completely stabilizing the human world and the Soul Society as well as the Hucamundo. The collapse of this was going to collapse all 3 of these worlds, which essentially means that every space where a soul exists would simply cease to exist. My point being that the Soul King is at least worth a small star. However, similar to Kaguya, we need to take in the fact that the collapsing of the 3 worlds would have been done over time. Another thing is that despite the fact that the dimensions hosting the world of the living and the Soul Society are at least galaxy-sized, Saying that the cataclysm that would happen would entirely affect those galaxies or universes is complete headcanon and is pretty much backed up by nothing. In fact, it was never stated by anyone within the manga to be the case. Mimi Hagi is someone who was capable of doing the Soul King's duty, and Yuha absorbed him while making him look worse than Saitama trying to fight Goku. Which means that Yuha was most likely just far more powerful than the Soul King before absorbing him. He also absorbed characters like Valkyrie and many more strong characters, so Yuha's AP should be at the bare minimum large star level and at most solar system. Ichigo would scale to Yuha's full power at the bare minimum, or at least close to that level of Yuha's power. Yuha, before going all out, even acknowledged Horn of Salvation Ichigo's Shikai, however was still way stronger. It took the Grand Rei Sarugetsuka Tensho to even make Yuha use his full power and go all out. And then when Ichigo used his Bankai, Yuha just wasn't even trying to catch his hands, so he just snapped Ichigo's blade using the Almighty from the start. So Horn of Salvation Bankai Ichigo was capable of even giving someone like Yuha a run for his money. However, Yuha still defeated Ichigo with ease. However, this wasn't necessarily because of his strength, but because of his hacks. So yes, Horn of Salvation Bankai Ichigo does indeed scale to Yuha, so large star level to solar system levels of power isn't out of reach for Ichigo. However, in this fight, I still believe that Ichigo just has the overall better abilities, and his scaling for solar is just more concrete. So if adult Naruto and Ichigo fought 100 times, it'd probably end up being something like 40 to 60. Now, is Baryon mode enough to take on Ichigo? Well, probably not. I think it's pretty clear that both of these characters are pretty much into solar system, if we're using their more logical and narratively accurate scales. However, I believe that Ichigo's solar scaling is a lot more accurate and concrete than Naruto's, just by going off the amount of power boost Ichigo receives throughout the series. And because of his more valid solar system scaling, I'd be willing to bet that his Ryotsu should just be capable of erasing Naruto entirely. Yuha has the power to casually destroy the realms, and Ichigo, who needs to be relative in order to harm him, causes physical damage to Yuha. But what does that say about Ichigo? Ichigo wins. But before you get out of your chair and start protesting against me, I don't really like using the universal scales for either of these characters. Maybe I'll cover that in a future video, but for these I like to keep the most agreeable scales for both characters. Because I know there are ways you can get these guys to like Goku level or something, which is just absurd. And if you're going to comment something like Naruto and Ichigo are outer, then you're not even going to get a response from me. Universal scaling is just one of those things that are really stretching it in my opinion. At least when it comes to staying true to the series. Though I can 100% see how from a scaling standpoint, these characters can indeed be universal. My friend Tempest used universal scaling in his take on the matchup. So if you'd like to check that out, go right ahead. Drop him a sub as well, because if you enjoy my content, you 100% will enjoy his. He even gave really good reasoning on his take, so be sure to check him out. Also, doesn't matter, Goku slams both of them.